Hello, hello, and welcome to the Engineer Your Success, Leadership, and Life Harmony Like a Mother show. I'm your host, Kenya Romanovska, award-winning investigative journalist turned maternity leave and working motherhood strategist. And I am a mom of three. I have two boys who are 6 and 4, and a little girl who is about 3, almost going on 4 months now. And I'm the host of the Mom Bee program, where I help women overcome the motherhood penalty and turn it into their greatest advantage in a very, very holistic fashion. And today, what I wanted to cover with you is the number one energy planning tool that you are never taught in a masculine and hypermasculine and logical work environment. And that has been an absolute game changer for my clients, actually both men and women, and that we don't talk about enough. And it's been so transformative. In fact, you can see like a little bit of it in a blurry background here. It's my calendar that I have in the back here, but there's a key component that I add to my calendar every year when I start planning, and it is seasons. So the concept of seasonality has transformed how I experience my life as a working mom. And to tell you why, I have to go back in time a little bit, and I'm laughing. I'm looking at my complexion as well here on the video version of this show. I feel like it's such a wintry complexion. It could totally use a little bit of sunshine. Speaking of seasons, I'm so ready for the season of spring. So there are two ways, more or less, that I approach seasons in my life. Number one is 5 seasons within my 25-year vision. So for those of you who work with me, you know that we start out by doing a 25-year vision, and we map out what really matters to you in each season of your life. Every season has some particular characteristics, and I found that acknowledging the different specificities of every season helps me think about what really matters the most. So for example, when my kids are tiny, there's the challenges of being physically present for them, but there's also the joy that they have, right? Being curious little people who love to be around us. So there's the emotional tantrums and the physical demands of having very young children, from nursing to comforting them at night. But then there's a season of life that we call the golden years, where we're going to get to do so many of the activities that my husband, for example, enjoys, right? Camping and hiking. I also love traveling. We're traveling regardless of the ages of our children, but it's going to be a different season of life where physically they're not going to demand the same of us as tiny little kids, right? And also the body is not tested the same way it is with sleepless nights or nursing a child. Then there are the teenage years, and if you've done your job well in those first years of life, hopefully we'll have a solid relationship where your kids will trust you and want to come to you as a co-problem solver. And then there's the season where they will be becoming essentially adults and maturing into their own careers and their families and towards empty nesting, right? And it's interesting to see that on a timeline, on a piece of paper, in a spreadsheet, because it makes you realize that each season is finite, assuming that you have good health and that you get to enjoy all of that. And I found that before I acknowledged these seasons over my 25-year vision, I tended to want to cram so much into a short period of time. Instead, having a big picture of the seasons in my life, and I also include my age and my partner's age and my parents' ages, our parents' ages, it gives us a better idea of what we want to do in every season, what kind of travels we want to do, what kind of activities we want to do, what we want to say no to, right? So acknowledging the seasons of life over a 25-year vision has been the number one game changer on a big picture level. Now, when it comes to my yearly planning, I shifted from the quarterly profit mindset that is so common in the corporate world, right? You have quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four, and finances are based on, do we have a profitable quarter? Do we have losses? Everything is measured as if the sole goal of every season was to make profit and make money, which is important. I'm a business owner. I know the importance of finance, cash flow, money, profit, right? You are there to make money at the end of the day and make profit and reach your purpose. Of course, that's number one. You want to serve customers, but at the end of the day, every business owner needs to be able to have a financial result. And I found that this pattern of 4 quarters in the year constantly kept me in this go, go, go mode. And it's it's good in some regards. It's a great part of us that allows us to be productive, to reach results. But I've realized working with many women that it also makes us exhausted to constantly be in this powerful, result achieving, checklist blasting mode, right? And for me, when I started my business, I was first taught how to manage my calendar, take command of your calendar, take control of your calendar, plan every hour of your day. And it was nonstop go, 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 go. And after some time, I thought, oh, do I really want to be doing this? Is this what I signed up for? It's even more intense than having a job. And on top of that, I'm responsible for making sure I earn every dollar to support myself and my staff. It didn't feel really good. And I noticed that even during seasons of holidays and like Christmas holidays, for example, in the summer, I was still in this productive mindset because of the schedule I learned and I was mentored on. A pretty masculine one. I won't lie. It's like constantly thinking about going out to market and producing profits, right? And I realized, well, wait a second. Why do I need to follow a model that was created by others and not adjusted to my own season as a mother? That's what I'm such an expert at, is I'm able to incorporate a lot of these productivity tools into the personalized sphere of motherhood. Because let's face it, if you're listening to this podcast, you have a career, you have a demanding career, you possibly have years of education under your belt. And when you become a mother, all of that, when you became a mother, all of that was suddenly challenged, right? You were wondering, how can I swing both? And how can I juggle a career with having tiny children? And many times it felt really impossible, right? So you are definitely a master at getting things done, but have you learned to rest and ask for help and receive and regenerate? Your body as a woman truly needs that. And everything in nature shows us that we need seasons of regeneration. So I decided, there's a year that I decided to take a step back and look at my schedule and look at my goals and what I wanted to achieve and how I wanted to live. And it was a year where I wanted to build my business around my family. Before that, when I was taking off, it was the family had to fit around what I was taught in, well, for all intents and purposes, my business school, by mentors who, by the way, I'm so incredibly grateful for. Without that initial guidance, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I decided to craft a calendar with 5 seasons in it. Seasons of rest and seasons of productivity. And they have completely different rules. So my seasons of productivity follow something called the 12-week year pattern, where, and it's a modified one too. I don't exactly follow to the T the model that's taught if you purchase the book or if you follow the book, but it's a modified version that is definitely more goal focused, goal oriented, and results focused. Whereas December and July and August have a completely different vibe to them, where I allow myself some unstructured time. I was exhausted of constantly having to plan every single week of my year without having time to be creative and to step back and just go with the flow and feel unrushed. So since then, I've been designing my yearly calendar. My season's coming up around May, June, July. This is when I start planning the calendar for September onwards. I first put the seasons of my year, and they're probably going to stay the same for some time, the seasons of productivity and of rest. And it has been an absolute game changer for my clients as well. Every industry has slightly different flows. You have times where you go, go, go in your industry, and then there's times where you pull back. And if you're project based, you have to be a little bit more deliberate about how you craft that, and then how you negotiate with work, where you're going to push and when you're going to pull back. But definitely when I work with my clients, we think about those seasons in much more detail. We become more proactive with our calendars, and we want to plan times in our year where we follow more of a flow, a surrender, do less structure, less achieving, less, less do, but more rest, regeneration, enjoy yourself, right? And keeping more white space on the calendar. For some of my clients, it looks like scheduling way fewer activities, right? So for example, they used to pack on tons on the calendars in the summer, but now they are pulling back and saying, actually, I want some unstructured time where we don't have anything planned, where we wake up and see where the day takes us, right? During their summer days. So that has been that number one energy planning tool that you are certainly not going to be taught in a hypermasculine and logical work environment where we are not taught to rest. We are not taught to be in stillness. And yet, if you're going to have a long, successful, fruitful career, that has to be implemented by design, because otherwise you're simply going to be in this kind of fit in mode in that hypermasculine, hyperlogical world where you want to tag along in terms of what's been created to be successful, but you're not living life on your terms. You're not living into the full potential. So if you were just tuning in, I recommend that you join our mailing list to get the replay of this podcast. This is one of my favorite things to teach, and it's been an absolute game changer for women who decide to incorporate seasonality into their lives versus always going on the go, quarterly produce, achieve, use every single, squeeze every single drop of energy out of every minute, out of every day, cram as much as you can on your calendar, be the person who responds, how are you? Respond, I'm busy. Is that how you respond to the question, right? How are you? Oh, I'm busy. Life is so busy. Is that where you want to be in 1, 3, 5 years? Certainly, that's not the answer I want to give. I want to have seasons of productivity. I want to have seasons of rest and enjoyment. And it starts with some intentional planning. And for me, it's typically along the school year, right? And planning a year in advance, budgeting my time, looking at my time as, in a way, a finite resource, and putting blackout periods where I am not productive, right? Like true blackout periods, not just vacations where I'm going to an all-inclusive for a week or two in the year, but then the rest of the year I'm always racing. Okay. So for those of you who are listening, tuning in, tell me what is resonating with you. Yes, Kirsten, you're saying it's so nice to have that rest scheduled in. Absolutely. Because otherwise, every piece of our calendar is going to be filled with activities or demands or commitments, especially if you're a yes person, you like to help people. And Kirsten, I know you love to help people, right? So putting in those seasons of where you intentionally regenerate can give you longevity, can give you energy, can help you balance your energy over time and keep it more stable versus always feeling like you never have enough time in a day. Okay. So have a lovely day, everyone. Thank you for tuning in weekly with me. It's such a privilege to listen to you. I look at our email campaigns as well. I know that many of you are listening to the replays, and I would love to hear back from you. Hit reply and tell me if you're going to do a yearly calendar planning this year, and if you're going to fit in seasons of unstructured time, of unproductivity, of rest, so that you can also make the most of your productive seasons and bring all the value that you have to bring as a professional and as a mother. I'm Kenya Romanovska, host of the Engineer Your Success, Leadership, and Life Harmony Like a Mother show. If you're wondering where the harmony came from, I think it's a beautiful word to describe the life I want to create. I used to be a piano teacher quite a long time ago, decades ago. It feels funny to say that, but here we are. And in music, there's always harmony and tension and resolution. And that's what I strive to create in my life. There are definitely going to be periods of tension as a parent, but there are beautiful, harmonious moments too, where we can experience the full richness, the full range of emotions, the full range of experiences as a parent, shaping another little human's life, and to live vicariously through them and do things that we miss as adults, right? That we used to do as children. So until next time. And if you're tuning in, remember that in April, we have wonderful workshops coming up. We have a webinar on creating your legacy as an engineer and mother. And then in the third week of April, we have an amazing 5-day, 1 hour per day workshop on crafting your working motherhood manual. You don't want to miss that one. The last time I did it was in the fall before I had my baby. We're bringing that back for some amazing networking and tools that will help you have a wonderful working mom life in 2024 and beyond. Bye, everyone. Have a great afternoon.